Brother Glasgow, yes, hitting the button and we are live. How's the weather down there in what you say you in Gwinnett County?
Yep, I'm in Gwinnett. It's not too bad today. Actually, yesterday was really nice. It wasn't too bad today. We got a little bit of wind early, a little bit of rain, but overall it's pretty good.
hmm I know you're doing some sports too, so I love it. I don't know. I know nothing about sports.
Really?
I get to hang out. Yeah, I'm a music. I have a music background, so when I hang out with guys like you can kind of shed some light on me. Are you a coach? Is that what we were saying before?
Yeah, I coach. I coach my kids, and I've coached all of them in basketball, except for my daughter. I coach my boys in football. So yeah, man, that takes up a lot of our time, is that coaching and that sports and all that good stuff. But
I
we
bet.
enjoy it. We had our day.
That's cool, man. Good old dad. We need more dads out there, right?
Man, overrated. I love
Good
it though,
old
man.
dad.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah,
I'm meaning
good
to
for
ask
you.
you about. I know you said you were in music. I'm meaning to ask you about your plaques in the background. I always see them whenever. What's up with the plaques?
Yeah, man. Well, I have a music background. So when you were like, are you football? You're a football guy, right?
Yeah, football, basketball.
When you was cracking people's in the head and running the ball and doing basketball, I was the band nerd, right? Like
Okay.
they used to talk about me, but now I'm like, look at me now. So back
Yeah.
then I was a band nerd, band captain, all that stuff. But then I found out music was cool after I left high school. So I found out that look, Teddy Riley was doing Pharrell, and I was working with Pharrell and doing that. And okay, it's
The
cool
V
to
the
be a
V
nerd,
the VA
huh?
Connect,
What'd you say?
the Virginia Connect.
Yeah. So Pharrell was a geek, like a nerd. I mean, the dude, you seen him? I mean, skinny, tight clothes. I'm like, okay, this all
Hmm.
right.
It worked out for him, I guess, right?
Yeah, so I'm like, okay, this is I fit in here, but I didn't fit in back home. So it was cool, man. It kind of like
Yeah.
I found out that there was a different spirits going on, different associations other than the people that I knew. So my world just went so big when I came down to Virginia Beach, bruh.
Got you.
Whole
Yeah, we
nother
spent a little bit of
world.
time down in Virginia Beach back when, what was it, Labor Day used to be kind of the deal.
Yeah, yep.
Labor Day was pretty cool down in Virginia Beach.
Cool,
I'm actually
cool.
trying to talk my kids into playing an instrument. We haven't been successful in talking them into it, but I think it makes you a little more well-rounded playing an instrument.
Just like if you have the discipline for the sports, right? You go
Hmm.
over and over, over and over. So with me, it was like trumpet. We play the same thing. I played trumpet for 8 hours a day. So that taught us the discipline, which we just transferred it over into business,
Okay.
which you can do. I'm presuming with the sports, with your discipline, you can just transfer it. I guess I could ask you, did you transfer that stuff into business too?
I never thought about it that way. Um, I don't know. I mean, discipline, yeah, definitely discipline. It's hard with youth sports, because you're dealing with kids and discipline is always an issue. Like, you're running around coaching kids, they still got the little Batman underwear on, right? And
Mm,
you're trying to get them focused to play a game. They want to play and stuff like that. So I
yeah,
think a little older, as they get a little older and playing, discipline comes to be important. But
gotcha.
um, you know,
Nice. So, Roundup family, good evening. Greetings. This is Chris Haskins with therealestateroundup.com. My mission and ministry is to raise your financial literacy through real estate investing and entrepreneurship. I get to introduce you to people that I feel that will benefit your life, help you grow as a business person and an investor. And I'm a member of a mastermind. We meet 6:30 a.m. on Saturday mornings, 6:30 a.m. on Saturday mornings. I like it too. I like that early mastermind, Dwight. What about you?
you know what? It's grown on me. The toughest part is getting up for it. But once I'm up, then it's always well worth the engagement. I really look forward to it. Um, it's been impactful to me over this last year. Shout out to Alexander Pizzo, who kind
Yeah,
of heads that
pizza.
mastermind. We have a good time there.
Yeah. So it's all gentlemen. We get online, and for me, I get to just hang out with guys that are in the mental struggle and looking to just increase and network and be better human beings.
Yep.
So I met Dwight on this mastermind, and he happened to be a real estate guy, so I kind of looked him up on the internet, saw he's doing some good things, and I found out he's a real estate wholesaler.
Yes,
So I
sir.
know a lot of you guys are interested in that. So today I wanted Dwight just to kind of give us a picture of his business while he's working a full-time job. Dwight Glasco, how you doing, my friend?
I'm delighted to be here, Chris. Delighted to be here, man. In the middle of this pandemic, pleased to say that everybody in the house is healthy and just blessed. And like I said, just glad to be here, man.
Nice, nice. So for a lot of my Roundup viewers, my Roundup family, they do work full-time as well. And I know I remember when I asked you to do this, when people hear me say something, I'm very enthusiastic. I'm inspirational with my message, right? I can kind of be overbearing. So when I met you, I'm like, you know what? This guy's a family man, works and does real estate. I think it'll be a nice segue to bring that real, true message to people that working and doing real estate, some of the challenges and some of the things that you have to implement and deploy to pull that off. I wanted to share some
Absolutely.
of the stuff. So give us a little background on you, Dwight, and then we'll get into why in the hell did you start doing real estate?
All right. Well, good deal. Well, again, thanks again for having me on your platform, Chris.
Yeah.
Um, for me, man, you know, real estate kind of fell on my lap. So I technically been doing real estate since 2008. All right, so I picked up my first rental property through HUD. Um, couple years went by, kind of dib and dab in a couple different things, and kind of I got caught one night watching an infomercial. Dean Grazioni kind of really kind of piqued my interest, really getting into real estate. So I've been wholesaling since 2012, so for about 8 years. So from 2008 to 2012, there wasn't a ton of activity. Like I said, I picked up my first rental property, ended up picking another rental property up in that meantime. And in the process, I kind of learned about tax sales. And it seemed like once you get into real estate, you kind of learn so many different aspects of it. Like a lot of times people think about real estate and, all they think about is, being an agent in your typical transaction from somebody buying a house as your average seller and somebody, buying and selling like a traditional purchase. But I've learned a lot of different ways to kind of move around in real estate, and discovered wholesale by accident, kind of. And so kind of, piqued my interest, did a lot of research, YouTube University, went to tons of courses. Um, Ron LeGrand was my first quick start. A lot of guys look up to Ron LeGrand as being the person who kind of first got them started. I guess he goes by Grandpapa. A lot of folks really look up to him.
Godfather.
The
That's my
Godfather,
boy.
yes, sir. Yep. So I learned a lot from him, to be honest. And I finally got the chance to go to his 4-day seminar down in Florida, and that's when I really picked up the interest to want to do it. So here I am 8 years later as a wholesaler. And one thing I've always got I wouldn't say pressure. I got some friends that do real estate full time. And I've always kind of kept my full time job and kind of real estate on the side. The way I kind of explained to my friends is I wish I really got involved with real estate when I was a little bit younger, when it was just
Yeah,
myself. Because, whenever you're trying something new, there's always risk involved. So
you're
the
right.
risk was a little less if it's just me and things go wrong. I can say, hey, Chris, I need to come sleep on your couch for a couple of days, man, a couple of weeks.
Right.
Things didn't go right. But now that I got a family of 5 and things don't go right, I got to make sure I got something to fall back on, which is why I kept my full-time job. Comes with benefits. You're guaranteed to get paid every 2 weeks, and the risk is a little less there, but still able to be effective with being a part-time real estate person, as I call myself. And it seems part-time, but there's a lot that goes into it. I'm kind of like the old phone plans. We used to talk about nights and weekends, because I spend a lot of my real estate time nights and weekends, doing research and trying to put deals together, so to speak.
Nights and weekends. Wow, you took me back.
Yep. Remember
You
that.
took me the day. So would you say I am learning here too, because I don't actually know mentally how it feels to work full time and be in real estate I know how hard it is for me just being in real estate. So I'm
Right.
like, that's why I admire cats that can do that. Tell me how that is, man. Tell me a little bit about that before we get into your systems and how you kind of manage time and all that stuff.
Got you. Well, one thing I've learned is you have to have patience because you get around guys like yourself, right? And you understand that they're doing deals like off the Richter. And being in this industry, you learn so many different from tax liens to wholesaling to fix and flip to buy and hold. You learn so much, and you get into notes, and you just kind of want to do it all. So you have to kind of reel yourself in and decide if you're only going to do one thing. And then for me,
Mhm.
wholesale was my primary. Although I do a couple other things, wholesaling got to be primary for me. But in the grand scheme of things, I try to keep it. I try to in my head keep things reasonable. Like I meet some guys that do wholesale, and they may tell me they drop like um, 10 grand a month in marketing, right?
Wow.
And I see the kind of deals that they're making from doing that kind of marketing. But knowing I work a full-time job, I know I can't market that way because I can't keep up with that kind of volume. So
Lead
I
flow.
think lead flow, yeah. I think being realistic is the first thing. Once you decide that you want to be working real estate in addition to a full-time job, you got to be realistic with yourself and how much you can take in as far as how many calls. You have to like you mentioned, I got systems in place that does all that for me, but still I try to keep it at kind of a minimum, so to speak, to make sure that I can handle it in addition to my full-time obligations.
It's weird you mentioned that because I get older. I'm 45 as of last week, Dwight. How old are you?
Okay. 44.
Okay, so
Yep.
I've learned in my life, for me, less is more. And I heard old dudes used to say that, like I'm like, when I was younger, I'm like, balls to the wall, trying to do a million deals.
Hmm.
Let's get it all. As I've gotten older, I'm like, man, you know what, dude? Less really is more. For me,
Yep.
I want to ask you.
I agree, man. And I admit, like these real estate checks can be really good, right? And as I talk to some of my friends that do real estate full time, and they find out how much money I made on one deal, they're like, "Man, you got to quit your job." Like something about that stability for me, keeps things in perspective. Um, so not wanting to be greedy, I find myself constantly learning, and I think that
Mhm.
on a daily basis. Believe it or not, I was watching one of your YouTube videos like 5 o'clock this morning on private lending. I was watching
Mhm.
that. I just happened to be up. So I'm always learning, and I'm not really necessarily in a rush because I don't know personally right now if my end game is to walk away from a full-time job to be a full-time real estate person because I guess I'm comfortable to say that for lack of better words, I'm
Mhm.
comfortable and it kind of works for me. Like the real
Yeah.
estate stuff really allows us to do extra things outside of you know um, travel nicely. Maybe we eat out a little bit more than we normally would. But I think it works for me, and I'm not a high volume guy. Like initially, if things starting out, I set a goal for myself to try to do a deal a month, and I've never
Mhm.
hit that goal, but that works for me. You got some guys who are doing 2 to 5 deals a month, and like
Yeah.
I said, I don't know what their time constraints are. But you mentioned earlier, like I coach football. I coach my kids it's the first time we haven't done basketball since I can remember. A lot of it got to do with COVID, but I have a little bit of free time, and this is around the time of year when I try to pick up real estate a little bit more because I have a little bit more time on my hands.
Yeah.
But just being patient with it and not wanting to really put a burden on myself with the need to have to do deals.
I love the way you're talking, man. What you're talking is what, I think we graduate and as Hampton University says, we matriculate into that. We start off just trying to be a super grinder, but now I look back, I'm like, man, I need to live a little bit. I mean,
Yep.
I don't have to make every dollar in the world. And I've learned you can't earn your way to rich. You can't earn your way. You have to manage it.
Yep. I
You have to
agree.
manage
Shout out to Hampton, the MEAC conference.
it. Yeah,
Are they still
that's
in the
right.
MEAC? I know the few schools left the MEAC. I'm assuming they're still in the MEAC.
No, they left, I think 2 years ago. Now I
They
forget
left.
what they're
Okay.
in now. Yeah.
Cool.
So let's get into some of this sexy stuff, man. So you're in real estate now. I want my rounduppers to know if you're just joining us. I'm with Dwight Glasco. He's down in is it safe to say you're the Atlanta market?
Yep. Metro Atlanta area. I'm about 20 miles east of the city. So,
Yep.
you know, Metro Atlanta is kind of what we would say living where I'm at. I'm in Gwinnett County specifically.
Cool. Okay. So I want to talk about your scheduling. So people that are working, tonight's training was just about having a full-time gig and doing real estate. Tell me about some of the systems you set up to locate sellers. Well, I know obviously you're not door knocking. I mean, what I don't know what you. Let me do this. I'll let you explain this. So just Q&A and round up. Get your questions in for Dwight as he explains his business as he works full time too. So let's talk about some of your systems you got set up in your marketing, and then we'll get to taking calls and all that stuff.
Okay. Well, primarily, and I know I've said this a few times lately, and I always hear it in real estate business. They say you got ABM to ABC. You got to always be marketing to always be closing. So you got to be marketing, and people, depending on who you talk to, they market differently. What's worked best for me over the years have been yellow letters, and what yellow letters are. So if I can just back up for a second, I'll explain what wholesaling is for folks that don't have a clue what it is. And I try to keep it in the simplest forms. So wholesaling is basically you find motivated sellers and you get contract with them to sell you the property for a certain amount of money. For the sake of the example, we'll say $50,000. And what you want to do is you may have what we call a buyer's list, or your buyers that's willing to purchase a property from you. That's a good deal for them. So if I get an agreement with a lady for $50,000 to buy her property at 123 Main Street, I take that contract that I have with her and I assign the contract to what we call our end buyer. Typically, you're going to be your house flippers. A lot of times they don't have the time to go out and research and find the deals like a wholesaler does. They don't mind paying a little bit more than what you've actually got it on the contract for. So I may have purchased the property from Ms. Smith for $50,000, and then I may assign my contract from Ms. Smith to Joe Brown for $60,000, making a $10,000 assignment fee in the middle. And it's literally two contracts: your purchase and sale agreement and your assignment contract. You put those two pieces of paper together, hand them over to your closing attorney, and they kind of basically do the rest. So in the simplest form, that's what you guys, that's what the wholesaling is. And finding my seller, what we do is primarily for me, I do yellow letters. So I reach out to, there's tons of them out there, companies that will help me generate leads to find these people that are motivated. And when you reach out to these companies, you kind of just give them your criteria, what you're looking for. And again, depending on who you ask, their criteria may be different. There's like 5 or 6 different criteria that I give the companies I like to use. And then they'll basically filter a list to me of these people. And we'll send out letters to these people and say, hey, I see you have a house. It fits my criteria for one that I may be interested in purchasing. Will you sell me your house? And then we just kind of start negotiating a price. So yellow letters works for me. I also like to utilize bandit signs. At one point, I was using a car magnet. We buy houses on my vehicle, and as you can see, I have a shirt on. This is my business. On the back, it says "We Buy Houses." So we're just like always, cool. Yeah, GPS, Greater Property Solutions. And just kind of, the longer in the business, people know that you're doing it. The conversation just kind of always comes up. Oh, I know somebody that's selling a house. I'll put you in contact with them. Or I have buddies that have, my brother actually works for one of the delivery services. So I always have him looking out for vacant houses. Another buddy's a postman. Whenever they see a vacant house, they'll send me an address. Then we just basically, at some point, look it up, find the owner of the property, and then kind of reach out to them that way. So all of it comes down to marketing and finding people that are motivated to sell. And we can get into crazy detail with it, but that's the gist of it right there.
Gotcha. So calls come in, Dwight. You're not well. Let me ask you: are you answering the phone, or do you have systems for that too?
I have a system in place for that. Again, having a full-time job, you got to get creative with how you're going to work your business. So there's a few companies out there. You can hear people talk about. I use a company. It's local here in Atlanta, but one of the bigger ones you hear about is Pet Live. And
Pet Live.
Yeah, they generate you a phone number. And that's the number you put on all your marketing. They have a 24-hour call center. And once you send out your yellow letters or whether it be your beta signs, that's the number that you put on so they can call them back directly. And they ask a few questions qualifying the lead that comes in. And then that company, they will actually send you the lead via email, and then you're able to reach out to those motivated sellers, at your convenience whenever you're available to.
So I just want everybody to understand that you're not taking the calls. I know some people do take the calls. I know I'm too grumpy. I stopped taking calls, I think 2008 maybe. I can't do it no more, man, because I would be doing something. I'd be so damn mad at the phone ringing. But then I'm like, these people want to give me money. So just tell us, when did you make that decision? Like, you know what? I need to make sure I'm not taking these calls, Dwight.
Gotcha. Well, I've also played around with virtual assistants, and I just kind of went back to a virtual assistant about a month or so ago. But it comes for me. A lot of it's depending on what time of the year it is. Like, I'm normally a lot busier from July through around this time of football. So, after my full-time job, I'm normally headed right to football practice. So I don't get home sometimes late. So that's around the time of the year where I typically will want to pick up my virtual assistant and my incoming call center utilization. But also, I do have a number where it's not associated with that, with the call center. They'll call me, and then you just kind of return the call as you're able to. Like I said earlier, nights and weekends is pretty much when I get a lot of my real estate work in. So from like 5 to 9, I'm typically grinding, making return calls, trying to set up appointments for the weekends. During the summertime where we have, like right now, for example, it gets dark here at 5:30 or so. So I don't look at houses in the evening for the most part during this time of year. I try to set my appointments up for the weekends. And
Gotcha.
I also do a little bit of virtual wholesaling, meaning I wholesale in different cities where I may have people on the ground. So I'm here in Atlanta, Georgia, but I'm from Delaware originally. So I have people there where I may say some leads out to the folks there. And if they call in, I got people on the ground that may be able to get in contact with a seller, go visit a seller for me, and kind of work that way as well. So having people on the ground in the areas that you're also interested is important.
Yeah, I'm seeing people hiring people, realtors, getting them to go out and take pictures and stuff like that. It's just an
Yep.
unbelievable strategy, man. It's unbelievable. Like, this stuff wasn't around when I was coming up.
Yeah,
So
you
you
got to
get the
definitely get
house on.
creative.
What'd you say?
So you definitely got to get creative, and more so when you're working a full-time job, because you have obligations there, and then you know you want to make sure you got things in place so you don't feel like you're wasting your marketing money once calls start to come in.
Yeah. So, okay. So you're getting the house under contract now. Tell me about do you have any secret sauces for finding your cash buyers, Dwight?
Yeah, actually, repeat buyers. To be honest with you, once you get a good deal, you're able to deliver that deal to your cash buyer. I hate to use the word begging, but man, they want you to bring them that next deal once you get it. They want to have the first right of refusal once you get your next deal, and you kind of set your buyers up that way. I have a couple of buyers that whenever I get a deal, they're the first people that I'm going to call, because you get your different class of buyers. You get folks that are going to want to haggle over the price or may have an issue with the amount that you're making. Then you get some buyers that you tell them the price and there's not really a whole lot of discussion about it. They'll take it, and that comes with trust and relationship building, because a lot of wholesalers, they mark up prices and they just throw numbers at a deal, and the deals are just really no good. But once you have a reputation of being able to produce some good deals, then your buyers they'll want to work with you.
I'm telling
Now
you,
there
these
have been
buyers.
cases where I haven't been able to find a buyer for a property. In that case, there's other creative ways of finding a buyer. Two ways that come to mind. We're marketing a deal right now where it's in an area where I don't necessarily have buyers at, but you go onto the MLS if you're able to get MLS access, which I have, and you're able to locate cash buyers in that area. So you drop the email or the address into the MLS, and you're able to, like, kind of within 1 mile or half a mile, find all the transactions for the last 6 months that have closed with people paying using cash. So that's another way we find our buyers. And it's tons of ways to find buyers. Social media is real big. There's so many groups where you just drop a note in there, and people will literally blow you up trying to get a hold of your deal.
You're right. And for my rounduppers that don't have access to the MLS, you can easily, I want to ask Dwight, how easy is it for you to give a realtor a couple bucks just to pull one of those searches for all the cash buyers, Dwight, in that area for the last 6 months?
It's really easy, man, because again, a lot of this is about networking. And what may take a realtor 5 minutes to do could create, and they understand this, could create a relationship in a deal that may happen, maybe not next week, but a month, 2 months, 3 months down the line. So most of your, and in this business, you always want to try to, as an investor or wholesaler, you always want to try to locate a realtor that's investor friendly. And, I quite the relationships in that aspect, just being around so long, attending the different RIA meetings, and you'll find that a lot of what you're able to do kind of depends on your network.
Mm-hmm. That's crazy. That's funny you mentioned that. Your network's important. How about showing houses, Dwight? Are you dealing with a bunch of tenants having to go in there, or majority of your house is empty?
Well, you know what? That's been my luck lately. And as a wholesaler, that's one of my biggest obstacles is finding a seller that wants to sell, but they got a tenant in the property. So a home run for me as a wholesaler would be somebody that's motivated to sell and the property is vacant. And
A lot of that's
that
gonna be
makes it,
coming up too in the first of the year when these evictions come around.
unfortunately, a lot of investors are looking forward to that.
Mhm.
You want to help as many people out as you can with their circumstances, but it's an unfortunate situation for a lot of people. But for investors, a lot of them going to see some opportunity. I'm believing to 2021 to take advantage of a lot of the opportunities coming up. And
Mhm.
once those courts open back up, I think you're really gonna see a lot of foreclosures,
Yeah.
evictions, things of that nature. So um, it should be a big 2021 for a lot of real estate investors, I'm thinking.
Yeah, once this vaccine hits. So your ideal seller, landlord, tenant. I'm sorry, you said the house is empty?
Yeah, preferably the house is empty, which makes it a little easier to show to your potential buyer. Um, uh, Here in Atlanta, things are really spread out. Like on average, to go see a house, you're probably driving 40 minutes. I actually do a little bit of real estate coaching as well, and I always tell the people that I'm coaching. So when we go see the house for the first time, for me, that's the last time I want to have to go see the house. So if I go to a house and I go look at it, my goal, my goal is to get a key from the seller and to put a lockbox on the door so that I can send my potential buyers over there to look at it pretty much at will. So a vacant house and a seller that's willing to give you a key is pretty much a home run for me as a wholesaler.
Is that language in the purchase and sale agreement that you use too, Dwight?
Actually, it is in my purchase and sale agreement, which is pretty. I use a rather simplistic agreement. You'll find contracts 6, 7, 8 pages long, whatever. I try to keep it as simple as possible with a 2-page purchase and sale agreement. And in there, it specifically states the seller agrees to allow us access to the property so that we can show it. And once you get a good property under contract, and you got some buyers that are willing to buy it, the last thing you want is to not be able to get them inside and look at the house. So I'm real big on getting a key from the seller whenever possible to get my buyers inside to take a look at it.
You're putting that on there. So I talked to Dwight before we went live here at Roundup. He did agree to go ahead and give us his purchase and sale agreement and your assignment of contract addendum. Dwight, is that correct?
Correct. Yep, there's
So
a
that
1-page assignment contract and a 2-page purchase and sale contract.
2 page. When you told me, I'm like, oh God, my stomach was nervous when I asked you how long is it? Because I mean, you got A to Z about God. Everybody's different.
Yep.
I
Yep.
always love 2 pages. 2 pages. You know, when I go to different places, I know some people have 5 and 7.
hmm
I just never worked for me. It's never. So when you told me to, I'm like, okay, this is the guy right here.
Well, I feel like everything you need is in the contract. I always give a disclaimer: I'm not an attorney. You want to
Yeah,
review it with your attorney if you decide to. Um, I've never had an issue with the contract. I've used it tons and tons of times. And typically, if there's ever an issue, a lot of times I've learned over the years, and this was kind of relieving as a new wholesaler. You know, you just contract and you don't know what a lot of lingo is in it. And
yeah.
at some point, you just got to kind of jump. You know, you kind of fill it out the best you can. And then if there's an issue with it, typically your attorney will let you know. That's kind of what you get paid the big bucks for. And I've never had a problem with the contract, any of the contracts that I've used. And every once in a while, you get a more savvy seller, so to speak, and they will want to review it with their contract, with their attorney, which we totally encourage. And if there's anything in there that they don't like, um, we've made edits to the contract, like via an addendum or something like that. I've even gone
Mhm.
as far on a deal that I really liked was to have an attorney draft another contract. That's happened to me once, but other than that, I haven't had any issue with the contract that I use.
You know, here's the thing. I think everybody's contract. If you paid an attorney, they're going to find something to find it, Dwight. I don't care who writes it up.
I agree.
It's always something to be. Someone could say something about it. Let me reintroduce you. We got 60 people on here. Dwight Glasco down in the Atlanta market talking about real estate wholesaling while working a full-time job. Dwight, thank you so much for hanging out with me, my friend.
Absolutely. I appreciate you having me.
So, are you doing cold calling? Tell me about that. And you got your VA doing that, or tell me this is a 40,000-foot view of that.
Absolutely. So again, guys, working a full-time job and being really any other business, if you're going to be a entrepreneur, you got to have systems in place. And through um, all the training I've had in real estate, all the real estate investor association meetings I've been to, all the out-of-town events, like everybody's common denominator is, and these are even for people that don't do it part-time like myself, you have to have systems in place. So
Yeah.
for me, the key has been having the right people in place. And for cold calling, I actually using a gentleman out of the Philippines. And it's funny because you hear about people in some of these countries, and you hear about what they're paid. And I've come to learn that even though we pay the people from out of country, a little less than you pay folks in the United States, this is really the money that you are able to pay them. It really goes a long way for them and their families because the cost of living are a little different. It's a little different there. So you have a lot of savings utilizing, and you have to vet your virtual assistant, and some training comes with it to get them to do exactly what it is you want to do. But once you get one that's worked pretty good for you, then you got yourself a gold mine. So the one I'm working with now, I've been using him for about a month or so. He's generated tons of leads, and to be honest, all the leads he's generated, I haven't even been able to get back to. So
Yeah.
I got him working 25 hours a week, and he works whenever he can fit those hours in. So we're in a 12-hour time difference. So
Yeah.
what I found out is a lot of the folks over in the Philippines, they work while we're sleeping, and they have mouths to feed just like we do. So they appreciate any business we're actually able to offer them. So, but it comes with a little bit of training. He does cold calling. You get yourself a dollar, and depending on the dollar you have, it just rings, rings, and rings. These people from the
All
list
day.
that you provide your virtual assistant. And you want to find one that their English is good, because we've all had those frustrations dealing with folks out of the country, whether it's a customer service call or whatever it may be. So once you get comfortable with somebody's dialect and they're trustworthy, hang on to them.
Yeah. I think for me, I remember when I first started using VAs, I thought you would hire one and that would be the one and it'd be over. And I
Right,
quickly
wishful thinking,
learned,
right?
Dwight, I quickly learned that you got to try them. It might work out. It might work out for a little while, a long while. They may not work out at all. It's just like hiring people in here in America. It's nothing different. You go through people. Would you say?
That's correct. Absolutely. And that's what I've been finding because the service I go through, when I posted the need for a virtual assistant, I promise I may have got like probably about 100 different responses. And then you narrowed it
Wow.
down, and then you interview a few of them, and then you just kind of go with what you feel good with. But they're definitely out there, and I'm talking anywhere from $2 to $5 an hour,
Yeah.
and they're fairly good at what they do.
So maybe we could get you on here one day to do a master class on cold calling. Not now, but I mean, maybe that would be something we could explore for the future, Dwight.
Absolutely, I'm up for it.
You guys, please let me know. Let me know. Would you like to get a cold calling master class? Let me know in the comments over there if that's something you would be even interested in receiving, y'all. So we got 70 people on here. I know I could ask you questions all night. Negotiation. It's crazy. I was talking to my wife the other day, and she doesn't negotiate with me, Dwight. She will shut down. She
I know
goes,
the
"Well, Chris,
feeling.
what do you no." She goes, "What do you expect? You wrote the real estate negotiating Bible. What do you?" I had no, I don't know how my wife sees things from time to time. Their perspective. And I'm
Hmm.
like, "Damn, you're right. I did write the book." So I didn't even know she thought that. So she's like, I won't negotiate with you. I want to talk to you about negotiating. Are you doing it most over the phone, face to face? Generally speaking.
Oh man, so negotiating, man, I'm bad at negotiation. It carries over to every aspect of my life. Like I can't go nowhere without trying to negotiate something. So that comes from all the other little side hustles that I got going on, but that's a whole nother story. But
Yeah.
negotiating, um, that's where you earn your bread and butter in this industry is being able to negotiate the price. I'm sure you've heard before, Chris. They say you make money on the front end. So you want to always create a deal that's, like say, a win-win-win, a win for
Yeah.
the seller, a win for myself as a wholesaler, and also a win for the buyer because you want to pass someone a good deal where they're going to come back and want more of your deals. So while you want to present a fair offer to the seller, you also got to be mindful that you need to leave enough meat on the table for me to make a profit and also for my buyer. So negotiating, it all starts with knowing your numbers, knowing the areas where you're doing business because here in Atlanta, um, you could be on one block and the houses are $400,000 houses, and you can be on the next block where they're $80,000 houses. So you got to
Wow.
really be good in running your comps to even start having negotiation conversations with sellers. And
Hmm.
that's the big thing right there. And having access to the comps is one of the major things that's going to to get your numbers where you need to be without too much guesswork. In the city, we try to keep it within a quarter mile or so. And the further you move out the suburbs, I'll go, within a mile or so when I'm running my comps, preferably in the same neighborhood. But when we get to go outside, I'll go a mile if I need to, finding similar houses, similar size, similar square footage, and bedrooms and bathrooms, and that kind of stuff. Similar style house when I'm running my comps. That's kind of where I start off, where I want to negotiate at. So I'm
Hmm.
at the run my comps. I have a kind of a range where I want to make an offer to the seller, and it's a little bit more that comes into that. You need to find out what the repair costs are, and because everything's so spread out here in Atlanta, you can't necessarily go to every house that you want to try to make a deal on. You gotta rely on sellers to give you pictures. You gotta ask questions about when's the last time you updated your roof, or when's the last time you updated systems, your HVAC, things of that nature. So you have to kind of ask some questions, and these are all questions that you have your virtual assistant ask once they get them on the phone. And once they send that information to you, most of those questions should be answered to kind of help you in your negotiation process.
I know you mentioned to me that you were using REI Pro, but you're moving over to PropStream.
Yep. I haven't pulled a trigger yet, but over the last year or so, I've heard more folks talk about PropStream. I really
Mm.
like my REI Pro, but again, I find myself always learning. And the more I'm hearing PropStream, I'm thinking I'm probably going to go down that route at some point. Once my yearly subscription is up with my AI Pro, I think I'm going to explore that route.
I can't prove. I don't know for sure, but I mean, they got to be real similar, Dwight. I've never used REI Pro, but I'm thinking they're all aggregated from Core Logic, I would think. But
I
even
think
the MLS here is on Core.
I think there's a few extra things that PropStream does. There's actually a few YouTube videos where they do a comparison of my REI Pro versus PropStream. Yeah, and I've watched a couple of them, and gut feeling is telling me it's probably PropStream. I can't recall if I've done the math on the price comparison or whatever, but I'll check it out and make that decision.
Roundup, if you're hanging out with us, make sure you get your Q&A in and go to the video description below to get Dwight's purchase and sales agreement. I thought it would be good to give to you because it's 2 pages. 2 pages. We got 2 pages contract, and the assignment addendum is what you're going to do to link up, if you're a wholesaler, link up your end buyer to your seller. That's how you get your check, turning that document in.
Chris, I'm smiling. I think my wife just sent me a message saying I was doing a good job, so I'm smiling. Hello to my beautiful wife. I guess she's watching.
Oh, at least she's watching. That's good, brother. Get some family support. At least he's watching. All right. And what else I had? I got the cash located sellers, cash buyers. Do you deal with tenants at all? I want to know, because for me, I used to give them $20. I don't do a ton of wholesaling now. I'm trying to keep as much as I can. Did I ask you any secrets to dealing with tenants when you have to show the house, or you don't even have to deal with that anymore?
To be honest, I'm really turned off with houses that have tenants in them.
Me too.
They're just a little more complicated for me, especially I haven't had to deal with one during the pandemic, but a lot of tenants aren't paying right now. So I think that's what's going to have a little bit, for example, your landlord sellers. I think they're going to be a little bit more motivated to sell their house right now because they're tired of not getting payment over the period of time of this pandemic. So
that's true.
But I really don't like dealing with houses with tenant, and I haven't dealt with any recently. Most of the ones I've dealt with have been vacant.
Gotcha. Who is this? Guys, if you want to get that Dwight's purchase and sale agreement and as a contract assignment, you probably have to just refresh your screen. Sometimes when we put it in there, it doesn't come up, but it's there. I can see it there. Please forgive me, behind the lens, Mr. Thinker. It's in the screen there. As a matter of fact, I'll put the link in the comments too. There you go. It's in. You can click right on it there. Boom, boom. Sorry, y'all. So, Dwight, any advice for my roundup homies that are working full time? I mean, I know how hard I grind. I could see that you got five family, a 5-member family. You talking about your 5 to 9. Tell me a little bit about that grind and what you can drop on other people that are interested in doing that too.
Well, first of all, forget about sleep. Sleep is minimal. Not really. Actually, what I'm really, again, because I'm a part-time, consider myself a part-time investor. I really like to try to manage my time. So again, like I said earlier, depending on what time of year it is, if it's football season, that takes a big chunk of our time. We're practicing 3 days a week and we're having games on Saturdays. So wow. I think the number one thing you have to do is be able to manage your time and carve out time that you're gonna, put into the business if you want to be serious about it. And if you're first starting out, one of the main things you want to do is build your network. And for me, that kind of started with going to the local real estate association meetings. And there's actually several here. We have several big ones actually. We've got I'm a member of currently South Atlanta REIA. In the past, I've been a member of Georgia REIA, and there's Atlanta REIA, and then all these different REIAs have different subgroups. But honestly, they're all really amazing, and I met some really good people there. I highly recommend that if you get into the business, the first thing you do is find out when your local real estate association meeting is, and start going to them, because you'll find everything you'll need to be a real estate investor, from your closing attorney to your leads, I've sold my houses at these area meetings before, so you can buy and sell there. Most of the ones here, I'm assuming most of the ones across the nation, they'll have a segment kind of like has and wants, where you get to go up to the podium in front of everybody that's in the room and tell them, hey, I'm looking for a house in such and such area. I'm an investor. I have cash. I'm a cash buyer. Or if you've got a property under contract, you take it to the meeting and you can find your cash buyers there. You let them know what you got, and you'll be surprised the amount of people that throw their hand up and want to give you the business card because they want to do business with you. Lenders will be there. Pretty much everything that you'll need is at these real estate meetings here in Atlanta, and I'm sure probably everywhere, across the nation. Time management's the key.
Time management's a beast. Yep. That's all the questions I had, my brother Dwight. Thank you so much for your time. I got some few Q&A that came in on the side. You got a few more minutes to go over that?
Absolutely.
Let's see. Somebody's 504 Darling. Before I do that, make sure you head to the video description roundup. You can download Dwight's purchase and sale agreement and his assignment of contract. It's in the video description below. That's probably just a tank of gas. Just invest in your business. 404 Darling. Got a full-time job too. Okay, close to retirement. Looking to learn about real estate. So that don't go broke. Okay. Well, did that cross your mind, Dwight, regarding working now and retirement? Tell me about what your philosophy is on that stuff too. That's a good point.
It is a good point. I've got 18 years on the job, so
nice.
A lot of that pays into my thought process of going into real estate full time or not. Because if you can imagine, and I'm sure I think it was 504 Darling. If you're close to retirement, you probably got some benefits. You probably got some money tied up in your 401k and things like that. You've got to consider. Benefits is a huge thing, health benefits. So as you're approaching retirement, I think that doing real estate is something that you would enjoy once you're done with working full time. I don't think about it much, to be honest. I'll probably retire where I'm currently working at. I'm in the auto insurance industry. I really don't. Again, with the benefits to consider and with the kind of tenure that I have there, I'll probably continue working there and, do real estate on the side. Because I do believe you can do both, especially if you've got, number one, processes in place. And if you're totally new, I also would recommend getting yourself a coach, because I haven't had a coach per se, but I do coaching, and I've coached probably 10 to 15 people into closing transactions. Not all of them have closed transactions. 10 to 15 people I've coached, and a good 5 or 6 of them have actually got to the closing table. But for me, it was all about, like I said, networking and going to all these seminars. Like YouTube University is big. I actually first caught Chris on a free seminar that I attended. He was doing the creative financing seminar with Deanna Britt. Shout out to Deanna Britt. She's another a source for leads here in the Atlanta area. And I believe I saw that Deanna actually posted today that she passed the bar. So congratulations, Deanna, if you're watching. But
congratulations.
Absolutely.
So you plan on staying? Well, yeah, I guess she was talking about retiring.
Chris, I don't think I'm going anywhere.
Okay, good. Is there still wholesaling in California, Dwight? I have no idea.
I'm almost certain, Chris, you can wholesale anywhere in the country. Although I am here, there's a couple cities around the country where legislation is trying to stop the wholesaling process for different reasons. So I'm pretty sure you can do it out in California. But you want to do your research, but folks are doing it there, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I'm sure they are, but I don't know what area she's in. I mean, you can wholesale anywhere. If you're in those huge transaction value areas, I'm sure that looks a little different from the Atlantas of the world or the Virginia Beaches of the world. I mean, our values are nothing compared to what you got out there. I don't know where you are in California, Chris. So, Barshawn, the contracts aren't available. Yes, if you can't see Dwight's documents, just refresh your screen. They are there. I can see them there. Henry, can you just incorporate a nominee clause in the purchase agreement? That's for Dwight.
Henry, anything is possible. I think once you guys purchase this agreement, it should be in an editable format where you could, make changes as you see fit. But I would highly recommend you get with an attorney before you make any changes or anything too dramatic, any dramatic changes to the contracts.
Yeah, this is just standard stuff. We use nominees on ours. It's just assignees and nominees. It's the same thing. From my point of view, our contract just says nominees. All you're doing is nominating a new buyer.
I never heard the term nominee. That's pretty. So it's like basically a sign-in. Is that what it is?
Yeah, I learned it back when I first got started. It's so ironic, Dwight. I went to Trump University when I got in the game back in 2005. And the dude was like, you know what? Don't use and or signs, use and or nominees. And I just have always used that, and it's the same thing. So for Henry, same thing. Regina, hey, Dwight, she's an Alpharetta. Okay. Thank you for sharing, and thank you for always sharing valuable information. Yes. What's the average earnest money payment for property between 50 and 100,000 for you down there, Dwight?
For me, excuse me. So there's two contracts. So the purchase and sale agreement, right? The one I'm getting with my seller, I want to have the least amount of earnest money as possible. And as you'll see, if you purchase my contract, some people think this is crazy, but in the purchase and sale contract, I leave it at $10, just to have some kind of amount in there. Some people think that's astronomically crazy, but like I said, that's what's in my contract. I know a lot of investors use $10 as an earnest deposit, only because you have to have, my understanding, some dollar amount in the contract to make it a binding contract. Now, when I have an assignment contract, I'm typically going to ask for anywhere from $500 to like $2,000 from my buyer. And a lot of that depends on the relationship I have with my buyer, whether or not we've done deals before or not. Because what you'll find is sometimes you'll get buyers that aren't really buyers. So you want to get a significant amount of earnest deposit to make sure that they're on board with the agreement. And that's going to be a non-refundable earnest deposit, because, while they're committing to purchase your property, you're telling everybody else, hey, this property is no longer for sale. So in order for me to do that, I'm going to ask for a significant deposit from my buyer. But like anything else, you buy differently than you sell. So front end, I'm only putting $10 on my contract. On the back end, I've done anywhere from $500 to $2,000.
We do not buy how we sell. So for Dwight, let's just stay for a minute. I remember, I feel like I don't think I invented it, but I feel like I'm one of the first dudes to use non-refundable. Back in 2004, we were doing this stuff and people were just jerking us around, cash buyers. Mm-hmm. These dudes would drag you out to the last second.
If you still happens.
Even with the they'll walk away from $1,000. Dudes walk away from $1,000. Dwight, that ain't no big change to cash guy.
Yep, that's true.
They'll walk away from it. But still, at least if you got that G, you can go back, and my thing is, if you get $1,000, you can tell the seller, here's $500. I need another 30 days or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
But that's a good point you made, Dwight. Always get a non-refundable. Always get a non-refundable from your
it kind of keeps different buyers from playing games. And I've had all kind of buyers. I've had buyers that have been really wholesalers.
Oh boy. Tell us about that device. People know what to look for. They don't know to tell us how that looks.
Well, that's something, actually, when you're new, you kind of can smell a new person in the business, and people will try you until you get burnt once or twice. And then it's like, okay. And you'll go to your mastermind, or you'll ask questions other investor buddies, how do I get around this? So earlier on in my wholesaling days, I may get a house under contract from a seller, and in the process of trying to find my buyer, another wholesaler, this has happened numerous times, has reached out, I hate to say pretending to be the buyer, but wanting to get a contract from me so that they can try to shop it around to find a buyer.
Wow.
And as a new wholesaler, you won't catch on to that. But as one that's been around for a while, you pretty much nip that in the bud with asking for that significant earnest deposit up front.
That's crazy,
Now,
Dwight.
yeah, I mean, it happens all the time, especially in, I say especially in Atlanta. I'm sure it happens other places, but I
Metro
consider
area, you
Atlanta to
got a
be
lot of people. Yeah.
absolutely, and it's a lot of competition. I mean, it feels like it anyway. So you come across some cutthroat stuff in the business. I'll be honest with you. Everything is not always peaches and cream, but you take it on the chin sometimes. The most important, if you learn from it, that's what you're looking for, is to learn from from any mistake that you may have made. And the good thing is, there's opportunity to make mistakes and not necessarily lose anything. Because the whole catch thing when people talk about wholesaling is you don't have to use any of your credit and you don't need any money up front. And with my purchase and sale agreement, again, with it being $10, I mean, you're basically talking about zero, nothing at risk, so
Yeah.
to speak.
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of learn and grow from your mistakes.
Yeah, that's a big one there, though. I can't tell you how many times I had buyers jerk me around, and I'm like, you know what? Non-refundable, no more.
Mm-hmm.
I've had to shit. Sometimes I've had to pay $5,000 non-refundable. And to a buyer, for me, I'm like, look, if it's a deal I want, the amount is irrelevant to me. I'm like, how much is it? Okay, move them to the next thing. Because you're gonna do the deal to a real cash buyer. It's not even a problem. It would never be an issue to put up a non-refundable earning. Now, if we want to give it to you, I don't know you, but I will put it in escrow.
Absolutely.
So I know that. I'm just saying how
There you
everybody
go.
moves differently. We don't have a relationship. But Roundup, I want you to know, a
That's a
real
great
cash
point.
buyer. Go ahead.
No, go
Yeah,
ahead.
a real
Go ahead.
cash buyer, Dwight, will have no problems giving you a large non-refundable deposit. Go ahead, Dwight.
Yeah, I was going to say, you made a good point, because I've had buyers give me the earnest deposit personally, and most people want to give the earnest deposit to your title company, which is what I recommend. But I have had buyers give me the deposit up front, and I was like, okay, we'll do it that way. But for the sake of everybody involved, you probably should just have to hold it with the title company. Keep everybody safe.
Yeah, you live and learn. I don't. Yeah, but they know you. Shit, if it's a guy I know, man, give him the check and it's over.
Yep.
But if you don't know people, it's kind of hard to get them to do that, and don't push people to give them, because if you're the wholesaler, you want that. Yeah, I'm trying to get that deal. Don't push these cash dudes to try to give you that money. You're gonna look thirsty.
That's correct.
Round up, we're hanging out. We got 75 people in here with Dwight Glasco. Make sure you head to the video description if you want to get Dwight's 2-page purchase and sale agreement and his assignment addendum. Nothing but a tank of gas. The agreements will be in the description. No, they're there right now. You can get them right now. Just hit the refresh on your screen, and they should be there, my friend, if you joined us from the beginning. Sorry about that. Leo, Atlanta in the building. Tanya, what is the name of the agency? Leo. What is the name of the agency you use for your yellow letters, and are they reaching out to sellers?
Okay, so for me, sending out yellow letters is a two-step process. So let me back up. So there's two companies that I utilize. One of them, they both probably do it, but you have yellowletterscomplete.com is who I first started working with. And you basically call them up, give them your criteria, tell them what you want, pay them, and they'll send they'll give you a list, and they'll send the letters out for you, whether you're doing letters or postcards. That's yellowletterscomplete.com. What I'm doing now, I'm actually getting the leads myself, because I'm getting a discount going through Yellow Letters HQ. So they have some kind of program where you can go through ListSource to get your lead for like 3 cents a lead, and once you get the leads from ListSource, you send them over to Yellow Letters HQ, and then they'll mail everything out for you. It's ended up being a lot cheaper for me that way. As I've grown into doing postcards now from letters, and depending on what investor you speak to, you'll get a different response. of if they prefer yellow letters or if they prefer postcards. Postcards are cheaper, and yellow letters. The challenge there is getting the letter actually open because some of you may have received letters in the mail from people that quote unquote we buy houses, and you just kind of chuck it in the mail in the trash can. But the goal is to get the mail open, so that works with postcards because it's already open.
Postcards already open. Don't got to open it.
Yeah.
Mr. Zinker, are the docks free? There's a small fee for the docks. It's nothing but a tank of gas, something to support Dwight and his 5. You got 5 kids or 3 kids and you and the wife, Dwight?
3 kids, me and a wife.
3 kids, yep. Barshaw, no coupon code. It's just the price of a tank of gas, my friend. Nothing much. Just to support Dwight in the holiday spirit here. Thanks for supporting us. For the value that Dwight sacrificed this night. I have 8 years. 8 years to go for you to retirement. Cool. No coupon code. Robel wants to know, Dwight, do you do any creative financing on your deals?
Robel, I do. That's actually a whole nother topic. I know Chris is big on this. Excuse me. I've done a couple deals subject to the existing mortgage. Subject to is an investor's dream when you're able to get those deals to kind of work out. I've also sold on a wraparound mortgage. So yes, I've done some. Actually, have 2 lease purchase tenants currently. So I love the creative financing stuff. And once you get good at wholesale, kind of like I was saying earlier, there's so many different angles in real estate, and things just kind of start falling in your lap. Like, especially when you get a good attorney that can kind of guide you through it. Because I had one deal one time, I didn't even know. I didn't even see the exit strategy. And he kind of said, well, why don't you kind of do it this way? So that's another gem is when you're a wholesaler, get yourself an attorney. I know it's different states. When you close with an attorney, some close with a title company, but get you an attorney that can kind of, that's willing to kind of walk you through a deal that you may not necessarily have thought of on your own. So that all comes with relationship building.
Mm-hmm. That's funny you say that wholesaling is just one tool in the toolbox. And if that's all you know, everything looks like a nail. You gotta get some different tools in the toolbox. For all my viewers. Tammy has started, look at that. Wow. She got a daggone billboard, Dwight. Started cold calling in the manner. That's crazy. Dwight, if somebody wants to JV with you or give you a deal, what is the best way to get in touch with you? Is it Insta or Facebook? I don't know.
Absolutely. Tammy, I've got buyers here in Atlanta. If you want to JV on a deal, shoot me an email at greaterpropertysolutions@gmail.com, and we can exchange contact information there. Greater Property Solutions with an S on the end @gmail.com.
I'll type it in the chat. Greater Property Solution with an S?
Yep.
And how about, do you reply to Facebook and stuff if somebody wants to reach out to you, Dwight, with a deal or something?
Yeah, actually, I've got a Facebook and Instagram as my business name, Greater Property Solutions. Feel free to add me there, and I'll follow back.
Nice. I keep forgetting to do that. People want to do the gold is in the people. The gold is in the network, as you know.
Absolutely.
Derek, have you ever done a slow flip? Are you familiar with my mentor Scott Jelinik's slow flip strategy?
I never heard the term slow flip.
So
I'm guessing that's something like a hotel, maybe.
No, we just buy them and then we own and finance them. Well, we lease. I do a lease option. My mentor Scott does a land contract. It's the same thing. Yeah, okay. I do them. Just let the people. Okay, we buy them cash, or we get the 30-year more a 5-year loan, pay them off, but then we finance them for 30 years, right? So I remember I was scared doing it at first, but man, people, they stop paying and you just sell the house again. It's no big deal. T5YLL4. Dwight, any recommendations on a proof of funds when engaging in making offers on the MLS property with intent to wholesale? It's a good one.
Yes, and actually I've had some success with this. I purchased a property, a short sale property before, where they were asking for a proof of funds letter. And, a lot of investors like myself, we're using financing to purchase properties. And if you would just Google proof of funds letter, there's a couple of different companies out there that will provide you a proof of funds letter. One that comes to mind, I want to say, don't quote me, but I think it's like Best Transactional Funding or something like that. You go to their website and they'll generate your proof of funds letter, and I guess with the hopes of you using them to make your purchase.
Look at that. Now that was worth the price of admission today. Very, very nice. Very nice, man. Say that website again.
I believe it's Best Transactional Funding, something like that. But just Google proof of funds letter, and several should come up.
Gotcha. Adam, do you have to pick your side on wholesaling or becoming a real estate agent? Man, that's a good one too.
I don't believe so, Adam. I mean, I know that there are agents that are wholesalers. I'd say no. I think, I'm not an agent, but I think there's always, I see agents always just making that disclaimer out there that, hey, I'm an agent, but you can do both for sure.
Mm-hmm. You can do both, Adam. Mr. Tinker, thank you so much. I appreciate all that you're sharing. Thank you too. Thanks, Dwight. Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Roz L., which attorney? Oh, ATL attorney do you recommend? Dwight?
Tons of good attorneys here in Atlanta. The one I've used the most is going to be Halpern and Lyman. They have office, I believe. It's the one I use in Dunwoody, and I believe that they're in Midtown and probably a couple of locations. But Halpern and Lyman is who I've. They did my first deal, and I've used them probably the most on my other transaction. But there's a lot of good attorneys here in Atlanta.
Good. Take notes, yes. Make sure you smash that like button. That's all I got for you, Dwight. Final thoughts on somebody working and getting into wholesale. We've got 75 people in here listening to what thus saith Dwight.
Just do it. Like if you like what you hear, if you're I'm assuming if you're here, you probably at a minimum have heard of wholesaling. Sometimes you kind of just got to jump and do it. Like I said, to get started. When I coach folks, there's a couple of different people I like to send them to over on YouTube because I like the content that they have there. But you type in real estate wholesaling and you can literally find everything you need to get started. And then make sure you find out where your local real estate investment association meets. And here in Atlanta, they meet once a month for quote unquote the main meeting. It's been a little different with COVID. A lot of the meetings have been virtual. But the content is so great, and the network is invaluable. Find your RIA, jump, just do it. And if you're going to do it, really, be patient with it, because I've had people that I've coached, and we made a deal for a significant amount of money, literally on their very first call, and that doesn't ever happen. People would say that, but I've had guys that I've coached where it's taken a couple months to get a deal closed. And I have all spectrum of people that are just starting out. So you get folks that say they want to do it, and you get to working with them, and then they're kind of half-assing it, and they don't put any effort into it. They never close the deal, right? And then you get some folks where they're hustling, they're doing everything you're telling them to do, and they still don't close the deal. So at the end of the day, it's really a numbers game.
That's it.
So if you're going to do it, go full-fledged with it, and have the confidence that you're gonna make a deal happen.
Funny you mentioned that. There are people say, well, Chris, if I do this, you think I'll get a deal by X time frame? I'm like, it just doesn't work like that. I wish I could predict when it's gonna come in.
It's very unpredictable, but just if you work hard, something happens. Especially if you're doing things the right way. Get yourself a good coach or mentor, and join a couple of these Facebook groups. There's tons of wholesaling Facebook groups. And honestly, that's one of the biggest motivations starting out is networking with other folks that are just starting. And I'm hearing their success stories. You hear folks that I just did my first deal and they may show a $5,000 check. I just did my first deal and it's $60,000, or I did my first deal was $1,500. Like I've seen all areas of income generated on a first deal.
That's right. I think
our very first deal was like $5,000.
That's average right there. That's generous. So in my opinion, that's going to be your average fee. So, if I just mark it up. I remember what really got me to put my butt in gear, Dwight. I remember like it was yesterday. I had some land in the contract. I bought one. It was like some lots. Long story short, I couldn't see it. You know how when you're in the deal, you're emotional, can't see everything. Like, what am I gonna do? This dude got my joint under contract and flipped it for $100,000, dude.
Wow.
When I came, because I had bought one of the lots. There was 4 lots. I bought one, and I was trying to just get rid of these other ones. I can't remember the whole thing, but he got them. He's like, Chris, I'll take them, whatever, dude. He sold these things for $25,000 each, and I'm like,
Wow.
okay, now I see the power. That is when I went full force. I'm like, this dude just made more than me, and I'm the owner. So
that's funny you say that because that scenario happens, right?
A lot.
Yeah, it happens a lot. And I always say you can't knock the hustle because they may have a different kind of network that you got. Like I may have a property, under contract for 50,000, and I wholesale it to them for 55, and they turn around and sell it for 70.
Yeah.
Maybe there's something I didn't see in the deal where I had it priced too low, but you good chance you're going to the other end of that stick someday too. So you kind of just take them. Yep.
I didn't get mad at it. I just got my butt in gear. I'm like, if this man just made $100,000 on me, oh Lord, what if I knew what I was doing? I would be dangerous. So I want people to know out there, there's a lot of money to be made in real estate. With a lot of businesses, but you got a lot of hustle, a lot of I call them posers, like those wholesalers that want to wholesale your deal. And Dwight, you can do some of that. I mean, you can join venture with people, right?
Absolutely. Yep. I think one of the last deals I did, and it's funny because I didn't know we weren't necessarily doing venturing, but I signed my contract to them, and they turned around and assigned it to somebody else. And I didn't know about it until the HUD came out. No big deal.
Nice. A couple of questions came in. Do you have a suggestion, Earl? Do you have a suggestion for a new landlord? Which methods should I accept regarding rental payments? Very few folks discuss this vital subject. You better take it. Well, I don't know. Well, Dwight, you want to chime in on that? I don't know.
What do you suggest?
People take it to my bank account. I mean,
I
know one thing I don't do is a personal check.
I do have.
Go ahead, Dwight.
Yeah, I got a couple things for personal checks. Excuse me. One of them actually directly deposited into an account that I set up through the bank. So they direct deposit one way or another. I guess they go to the bank or do something online. So many different ways to accept.
Yeah, I definitely would not ever take a personal check. I took that the first year I was in business. Almost put me out of business. So we do money orders, cash.
PayPal.
Shit, we will. I don't care. PayPal, they got to pay the fee. Cash App, man. Sometimes tenants, they'll just send it Cash App. I don't like it, but they'll send that too, So make sure you download the Dwight's purchase and sale agreement in the video description and register. I also put in the video description. You might have to refresh it. The YouTube and Internet Marketing Masterclass will be this Thursday. The discount ends for that Wednesday night. Please repeat the attorney. You can rewind that, Regina. You could just rewind. Who was the attorney you got down there, Dwight? You can rewind it.
Craig Halperin, RIN. Halperin and Lyman is the firm.
Gotcha. S.L. Townsend, does the non-refundable deposit come to me or to the title company? We covered that one. Go ahead, Dwight.
I've done it both ways. Probably 95% of the time it's going to go to the title company, but you will have an occasional buyer that's okay with giving it to you directly. I don't recommend it, to be honest, but typically to go to the title company.
Yeah, title company. I don't recommend that either. Okay, Old Money Book. I don't know what book that is. I need to look into that. Do you know what the Old Money Book is from Derek, Dwight?
I've never heard of it. I think we talked about this on the mastermind the other day, Chris. I don't get a chance to read as much as I'd like to. The Old Money Book, is that a good one?
I don't know. I did just put it up here. Living better while spending less. Maybe it is a good one here.
Cool.
Standards of the Secrets of the Upper Class. Okay, we'll see that. Thank you, Derek, for that. I love, oh man, book. I could read books all day. So, Dwight, it's been an honor to hang out with you, my friend.
I might need an audio book.
Why not? Yeah.
Likewise, Chris.
So round up, get your butt in gear, get your documents. Dwight's doing wholesale deals, all other stuff, creative financing, but I'm presuming he kind of started with these docs here and you've tweaked them over time so you can download them. You got them right there. I remember coming through the ranks. I got so many courses with docs. Like I had them all. Like, I wish I could show y'all my shed back before stuff went virtual. I got just walls of courses. And so Dwight's offering this thing, and I'm glad he did it for us. It's nothing but a tank of gas, y'all. Just invest in yourself. Okay, Dwight, that's all I got for you. Round up, subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and I'll share this content with any other investors that are thinking about doing real estate wholesaling or getting started. I'll talk to you on the next video. Peace.